All right, Texas Tech defense. Let's get started. They are a 3-down football team that at times will stem into a 4-down front. What that means is personnel-wise remains 3 down, but what they'll do is they will take these 3-down linemen, they will shift them one way or another to create an over or an under front, and then this backer that's going to be here that's walked up just the same as he's walked up here, he's going to make it a structure of a 4 down. So you'll see them do that at times. They did it far more against Baylor than they did against these guys. Kansas State, first play of the game, they came out in a 4 down. Then they were primarily 3 down after that. And a lot of that has to do with where they line up. So it's not just personnel. They're covering the center, and then they have shades on the tackles. A lot of the times it's a head-up nose, a 0 technique, or it could be in a 1, which means we're offsetting, which means I'm just slightly on that edge or slightly on that edge. And then sometimes they'll be in a 4-eye, which means I'm on the tackle, but I'm just on his inside. I'm covering up his inside. So a lot of the times you'll see that, or you'll get them head up on the tackle, which is a straight 4 technique. And they could even be in a 5 technique on the outside edge of that tackle, but they're covering the center and they're covering the tackles. And so they're 3 down. You see their 4 backers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in here on the back end, these are the 4 secondary players. You're going to see a lot of rotation late. A lot of the times you're going to see one of these guys that's going to be deeper and higher than the other. It may look like he's starting in the middle of the field and, oh, he's a cover 3. It's not. As the play unfolds, this player backs up on the hash and he slowly works towards this hash. And I actually believe it's more of a quarter shell, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 across, than it is a cover 3 shell. They'll play man coverage. It's easy to identify. A couple key things are going to be they'll line up, walked up in the faces of these guys at about 4 to 6 yards. Also, the depth of the free safety. When they line up and play man coverage, he is extremely deep. There are other times that they don't want to show it right off the bat. They're going to show a little bit more of a shell, but it's going to be walked down just a little bit. And then they're going to get to man based off of, you'll see certain motions. They'll get to it. The other thing that you'll see is you'll see half of the field. They'll be in a combo coverage. And what that combo coverage means is to one side of the field, they're going to be in a man coverage, cover 1 man, or in cover 2 man. And then down here to the field, they'll be in cover 3. That's called combo coverage. They get into that. You'll see they kind of have different blitz schemes depending on who they're playing. You could see the different type of pressures based off of the personnel groupings. Against Kansas State ran a lot of 12 and 13 personnel and some of the formations that they got in. And Baylor was a little bit different than that, and I think that impacted the game. So let's get started on some plays here. This is a good defense. I don't think they have as much team speed as TCU did. You'll notice that their linebackers, they don't flow quite as hard as TCU's. You're going to see this player that's kind of out on the edges. When they have 2 receivers that are out here and their DBs are going to be locked up in man coverage, they're going to have that similar player that's going to kind of slow play run action because he doesn't want to get beat in the RPO game. What that means is he does not want to give up. If the offense runs a simple fade out and he knows that they're in man coverage, he doesn't want to sit here and commit wholly to the run and then give them this little quick free 5-yard out. He's going to slow play it so the quarterback gives the run, and then they're going to collapse on it. But you're going to see similar things that as the play unfolds, you're going to see their commitment to the box, and then you're going to see man coverage on the edges or some type of zone. All right, let's get rolling with this play. So here you can see that they're going to bring zone pressure from the boundary here. They're going to run to cover 3. And so what that is you can see this safety that's entering the picture. He's going to come down. This safety's going to go deep, and you got deep thirds. And then what you're getting is you're getting this boundary pressure from this side. And then what they should do is they should distribute these backers. Sorry, that arrow is not supposed to be there. Sorry. They should distribute these backers this direction to the field because the safety is coming down there. So I'm using the red to designate where the secondary is. You can see that there's the 3 guys going deep. 1 is coming down. These backers, you're getting 1 off the edge, and then these white ones, these are the ones that should be distributed. So it's 3 underneath. It's basically, there's the secondary player, backer here, another backer there. But they don't get the distribution correct. And as you can see, watch how over this backer right here, watch how he's going to get too far to the field. He almost covers that guy up. And so now you have this single safety that's coming down to this side with a free access corner up here to the top. Now, I'm just identifying that because if I'm the quarterback, I know If I draw a line in the field like that, I have, watch this, I have 1, 2, 3 to there, 1 plus a corner. And then if I come to this side of the field, they have 1, 2, 3 for my 1, 2. So I want to be working the concept up to this area of the field here. Now, cover 3, you can see the space here, but this is what they do as a team. They're going to zone pressure. They're going to get to 3 deep. All right, we're going to see some more drop 8 from this Texas Tech defense. 3-man rush. Now, this was an unbelievable throw and catch here in a small space. We need some of those on Saturday, but let's talk about what coverage they're getting into here. Here you can see there's the 3-down lineman right here. And then now what they're going to do is they're going to be in a 3-deep zone. So what they're doing is they're going to drop the corner. Safety's going to work to the middle, and they're going to drop this other corner. You're going to see a safety that's going to work down. You'll see him more in the picture as the ball travels. But this is our safety that's coming down into the hole area. So some defenses call this 3-hole. Some teams identify it as 3-buzz. But what it essentially is there's going to be a hole here between the Mike and the nickel Sam. And this safety is going to come down and insert himself in there. And then this nickel is going to buzz to the flat. That's why you get the term 3-buzz. Safety inserts inside the buzz nickel player that's running to the flat. But what you're getting is you're going to get this extra defender underneath. Here as it plays out, you can see this player coming down. But when you get 3 deep, normal 3 deep is 3 deep, 4 under. Here, it's going to be 3 deep, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 deep, 5 under. So in this 1st and 10, my guess is personnel-wise, Kansas State had come out in a lot of 2 tight end looks. All of a sudden, they're in this look, and now they're going to play this drop 8 pass. And you know what? This guy may still be identified. I don't get into the personnel as much because I'm not playing in the game, but I just kind of take a brief look at it. They could identify this guy as a tight end, that another tight end. Maybe this is still 12 personnel. But for whatever reason, Texas Tech guessed correctly, and now they're in this drop 8. You can see where this influence of this seam player right here influenced this safety coming down in the hole. That influence really worked out well for them to throw this deep in cut. But for a lot of the times, if I'm a quarterback and I get drop 8 on 1st and 10, it better be really good downfield. Otherwise, I'm going to come to these areas here, take what I can get, pick up my check down. Now, this is big. Maybe because he saw that buzz player carry that seam, he knows he's got this. But as you can tell, it is not that tight of a window. They're feeling pretty good ripping that in there, and it paid off. They get a big completion here, big play to start the game. All right, I said in the beginning, this is a man coverage team, and here we're going to get our first look of it. You can see we are lined up, man for man, man for man. They're going to bring this backer right here, make it a 4-man rush. This backer here is going to be who's taking this tight end here, and then you can't see him, but in the middle of the field is a deep safety. So straight up cover 1, we're not hiding it, we're showing it, we're bringing pressure, and they're going to play cover 1 here on 2nd and 5. BYU's opportunities, oh, and you know what, I forgot one little aspect, is this dropper, all right? So what they do is they play cover 1. It looks like pressure, but it's simulated pressure. So they're going to run out. He's going to take him in man coverage, and then here they have a dropper. So similar to the hole player or wrap player. Just for a quick review of the kind of the 3 levels that you can get a zone guy in there, okay? And this is not really pertaining to this play, but I'm just describing it in defense in general. All right, so if you have 2 safeties back here, a lot of the times what you see is you'll see one of these safeties come down and the other one rock to the middle, and then they'll play cover 1. Everybody's in cover 1, and then this player that's here is going to be that middle zone player. And a lot of the times they call that, like, depending, if it's a safety, you'll hear the term like thief or robber, one robber. That's one variation of it. Now, if it's a linebacker, meaning they lock up man, they lock up man, they lock up man, they lock up man, and there's a linebacker that's here floating as the free zone player. A lot of the times that's called the plugger or the robber, or the wrap player, okay, or the hole player. It's because it's a linebacker, so that's the 2nd level of it. This is the 3rd level of it, from the rush, right? What they do is they drop a player from the rush. And a lot of the times when you're kind of writing out what the coverage is or you're talking about it, you'll hear the term drop, all right? And then so what this can be is this is cover 1 drop. And so what they're doing is they're simulating pressure. They're making it look like they're bringing 5, but they're not. They're bringing 4. It's simulated, and then you get a dropper. That dropper is the same responsibility. He is that middle zone player. Now, what some teams will do is they will tell him to drop to the field and look up any shallow route, or drop to the boundary and look up a shallow route, or drop to the 3 receiver side looking for a shallow route. What they're trying to do is they're saying if the quarterback misinterprets our rush and he identifies it as a 5-man pressure, and let's say we're in empty, just like this is right here, right? And because they come 5-man, we should be able to pick it up. But what can happen against 3-down looks is offensive teams that are in 3-down looks, if you get 2 backers to a side, right? Which if you look at it right here, I'm going to show you guys, this right here is 1 to a side, 2 to a side. Based off of this blitz, and in the protection that they might have been in, that quarterback could think he's hot. And then so what they do is they drop a guy out into a space that if they try to throw a hot, shallow route, there's somebody there for it. So I know that's a lot of details. I went from just talking about cover 1 all the way into all those details, but those details are really important in the type of cover 1 coverage that it is. And if there is a free player, whether it's a safety, which just a reminder, if it's a safety, 1 thief, 1 robber. If it's a linebacker, now it is 1 rat, 1 hole, 1 plug. And then if it is a defensive lineman dropping out from the rush, that would be cover 1 drop. Okay, I talked a little combo coverage in one of the earlier videos. This is going to be an example of what it looks like. So I'll let the play out. It's going to be hard to tell here, but if you notice down here to the bottom of the screen, you're going to see this man look where the linebacker runs out. And then this corner is going to play man right here on this tight end. But let's talk about personnel. So Kansas State comes out in 12 personnel. What that means is there's 1 back right here, and then they have 2 tight ends, all right? You always hear the first 2 numbers, 1 back, 2 tight ends. 12 personnel. 11 personnel is 1 back, 1 tight end. You always know the third number without having to say it. If it's 11 personnel, there's 3 wide receivers. If it's 12 personnel, there's 2 wide receivers. If it's 22 personnel, there's 1 wide receiver. So this is 12 personnel, and you're going to get a combo coverage. So the field is going to be divided in 2. Now, what you can't see are these corners here on the safeties here on the back end. You have safeties in both of these places. To the field here up top, you're going to have a quarters look. You're going to have 2 safeties splitting the field in quarters. Over here, you're going to have a safety playing half, and then you're going to have this corner, and I might have said 2 safeties. I didn't mean 2 safeties. I meant 2 secondary players. The corner is going to play quarters, and the safety is playing quarters. Over here, you have a safety that's playing half, and then this corner is going to come down and play man, and you're going to see that they are manned on. Linebacker is going to take the running back, and he's going to take the tight end. And you can see it play out. Let's just start down here to the bottom of the screen. You can see this man look. You can see the hard run to the flat. Notice how up top here, no one's running with any player. They're not doing that. What they're doing is they're zone dropping. So you can see to the boundary down here at the bottom, it's man. Up top, it's zone. So they man it up. Can you see the contact here? Can you see him running hard there? Notice again, they are soft. So this is combo coverage. There's a lot of reasons to do this. There's one is, do I feel confident my guys to this side of the field can man up? I can put a safety over the top. Do I want to zone a certain area with underneath coverage and over the top coverage? It's less likely to give up a big play to that side of the field based off of what type of combination they have. As you go up in levels, sometimes it depends on, like this is the speed side, and so they'll say, well, we'll zone it up to the 3 receiver side. Speed because 3 receivers. The other thing that they do is they can call it the speed side is because down here you have tight end running back. Over here, 2 receivers and a tight end. Consider that the speed side. The other thing that they can do is they can say, we don't want to give the quarterback the cleanest look. So they start to do these things where they kick coverages, they zone one side, they man another side. Sometimes it comes down to the confidence in these players. So there's a lot of reasons to do it, but you will see some combination coverage from Texas Tech in the game tomorrow. All right, to a bunch look here to the boundary. What that means is you have a point man, usually a tight end. You have a receiver off the ball, out to the outside. This can be a wing type player, another second tight end. This can be a fullback. This can be another wide receiver. But this is a bunch look here to the boundary. And now at first glance, you may see, oh, it's man coverage. But up top over here, they are not playing man coverage. So here to the back end, what you can't see is you can't see what you're getting over here. There's a secondary player here, and then deep in the middle of the field is a safety. It looks like you're getting some type of cover 3 tilt, but that would mean that this player would need to insert down, and what it would look different is the distribution of these linebackers. Okay, so these linebackers are what's called in a bossed position. You can see that Texas Tech is playing like a 4-down look right here, and these linebackers are backers over strong. So they're moved over to this bunch side. If you were getting a secondary or safety rotation coming down from the top over here and a safety going to the middle, most likely you would see one of these guys come off the edge, aggressive off the edge, or 2 of them, and then you'd get a zone dropper. Here, you don't. Can you see how they don't add anybody? Now, you do get this zone dropper here, but what you're not getting is you're not getting anybody off that edge to make it a 4 or 5 man rush. So what it looks like is you're getting everything that looks like possible cover 3, but actually what you're getting is a quarters look drop 8. So what that means is this corner is going to play soft. That guy that was standing here actually works towards the hash, and the guy that looked like he was a deep safety, he starts to work towards this hash. Okay, so your question is going to be, well, John, why is this guy locked up in press man? It's not uncommon for quarters teams to play the corner to the field pressed. Now, yes, he's still responsible for deep quarters, but what they don't want to do is they don't want to give this quarter shell and just give complete free access. Any out route, any stop route. There would be all these routes out here that the quarterback could just steal. They could just take. We don't want to make it that easy. So what are we going to do? We're going to get him up in his face. And yes, it basically plays out with man coverage, but he knows I am responsible for deep quarters. So this is a drop 8. Looks like everything is going to be like cover 3, but there's a few things that you can tell, like the boss of the backers, a safety to that side. They're not going to do that unless they're bringing some type of pressure. No pressure, it's going to be something else. What do they drop out to? They got an end dropper, and it's 4 deep, 4 under. All right, here's an element of this Texas Tech defense that you see a lot, all right? You're going to be able to see this shell here that's a quarter shell, and you have the 3 backers underneath. Now, something that you saw a little bit out of last week in in TCU was how downhill their backers were on any type of run. Well, here, their backers aren't as fast, but watch, they're still going to step up after it's happened. So you have a quarters look here, but because these backers step up on this play fake, you're going to have these safeties reacting. Watch how he's going to step down. So a little rule that a quarterback uses is if you have a vertical from number 2, whether it's a seam or a deep over or a basic in cut, and this linebacker here allows that player to get past him and up towards the secondary, that means that this quarter safety will usually drive on it. That's a big indicator. Let's say, for example, you're running basic with a post on top. Very standard quarters beater. Well, a lot of the times you want to gauge what does this linebacker do. If he carries that vertical seam, most likely this player is going to get depth and he's not going to collapse on it. So your alert big post is most likely off. But if they allow him to get vertical past that backer up onto the safety, good chance the safety is going to drive on it. So here, what I notice is in 2x2, these play pass and like little flash fake opportunities could be there. Now, why did these backers step up pretty hard? I want you to notice what the offensive line gives here. They're going to give these down blocks and they're going to pull a guard. So this right here is going to be indicators of run. Now, this right tackle, he gives a major pass set right off the get-go. So he pass sets, but you do have these, what looks like a semi-down block, a little pull. There is reason with a little flash fake for these backers to step up. If I'm looking at a team that does this, there is opportunity not only right behind them, but also to get safeties to step up and go over the top. And if you feel like these corners are inside leverage with eyes inside, protecting any post, this is opportunities now to run deep out routes, bench routes, comeback routes, 14-yard stop routes. If they're going to protect on the post, then you can win on these outbreakers or stop routes or comebacks, like I said. So I like the opportunity that may present itself here for BYU. 1st and 10, give a little flash fake run action, get these backers to step up, and then there's opportunities in the pass game behind them. All right, we're going to talk about kicking the coverage to a cloud look into the side of a jet sweep. You see this oftentimes as defenses face some teams that run a lot of these jet motions to set up these, they want to run a jet sweep with somebody moving. So what that means is there's a safety back here that might be kind of tough to see, but he's sitting in a cover 3 position. This just looks like your standard cover 3. They're setting up in it. So basically I got 3 down linemen, I got 4 backers, and I'm setting up a standard cover 3. So watch, I'll show you this. Backer, 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 backer. And you can say that this is a strong safety off the edge right here. So what they might do is they can bring this strong safety off the edge. The corner comes down. The safety goes over the top. This backer will drop, and then he'll roll over. And all that is doing is that is basically taking the coverage and swinging this way so that it allows this corner to get downhill and be the widest man in run support. And so as you can see as it plays out, there you can see, here's the jet sweep. Here's the strong safety off the edge right here. Here's the corner coming down and a safety going over the top. They are basically saying, we are going to bring this pressure into where you could run the fly sweep, and then we're also going to bring the corner down. You see this a lot of times right here against jet sweep teams. And I don't know what key they had on Kansas State, but they knew field pressure and they're going to kick this coverage. They're setting themselves up really well. Now, they didn't play it really well. This guy right here jumping inside like that, you can't do that. When he jumps inside, now he's really giving him a chance, right? Because now you can see they have a really good block set up here. He's there. This is actually a really well executed play by Kansas State when TCU actually made a pretty good call to bring pressure into the side of the jet sweep. Because we are a jet sweep team at times, now a lot of the times we run it from under center. I don't know what keys they have on us, but don't be surprised on some of those motions that we do sometimes run from gun. They may try to set up something similar. Okay, goal line, 11 personnel. That means 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. So I want to break down what Texas Tech is doing here. You can see they have their 3 defensive linemen. You can see they have their 4 linebackers, and then here are their secondary players. To me, this is what it looks like. It looks like it's man for man, man for man. This is man right here. He's man there. And then we have that'll be man on the running back. What they do is they have these extra players here on this edge, here on this edge. Now, it looks to me like as the quarterback gives this little action of what could be a potential RPO, it looks like a slow play. Now, I know the back didn't go at him, but they have eyes in the backfield for something, right? And what I think it is if it's immediate pass, they're going to drop, and they're going to add a zone player to the man sides. But if it's a run action to them, somebody's going to react really hard to whoever is number 1 to their side. Meaning, if it's a running back to their side, if this was the run to his side, he's going to react really hard. If this player lead blocks to this side, he's going to react really hard. And so they're just trying to blow that up. Now, I'm not sure if it was something also for this quarterback. As you can see, I'll let it just play out. This guy's got some athleticism. He scored a couple touchdowns in this game on designed quarterback runs down here on the goal line. Apparently, he's one of their fastest players on their team. You can tell he's long, lengthy, and can move. But to me, I think schematically, we may see the same thing because you see this pattern show up at times in the open field, which is basically it's man, there's versions of man, and then they have players that will drop out if they read pass underneath to help out, like droppers. Okay, here we go. Another version of combo coverage. Again, it looks like it's against 11 personnel, 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. I'm going to identify the safeties here. These are your 2 safeties. The thing you're going to notice is that to one side of the field, I'm going to draw this line, okay? This is the side of the field that's going to get the man coverage. This is the side of the field that's going to get the zone coverage. That's why it's called combo or combination coverage. As you'll see to this side of the field, watch the players run with their man, and then up here they have a safety help to that side. Now to the top side, you're going to get a You're going to get a cover 3 corner, a cover 3 safety, and then you're going to get a flat player and a hook player, right? If you drew a line down the middle of cover 3, that's exactly what you're going to get. If you drew a line down the middle of like 2-man, you're going to get that down here. Now, this safety's playing a little bit shallow, and for what reason, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is a key player in Kansas State's offense right here, because to me, it looks like he's almost helping there. Right, you can see that they're allowing this player to get vertical up the field, and he's helping out more on this player here. So I'm not sure what their keys or reason behind it was, but this is a definite combo coverage. So it's a 4-man rush. It's not pressure. Even though they bring somebody, 3 down teams always add one person for it to be a standard 4-man rush. So it's a 4-man rush. There's 7 guys out in coverage, but it's a combo look. Can you just tell just by seeing, look how manned up we are, But you have zone dropper, right? Now the quarterback here does a really good job. I'll just let it play out. He comes back to the other side of the field, finds somebody for a first down on a 2nd and 6. I'm not sure if this was a pure progression read, but they have a really good play called up top for this cover 3 beater. These deep stop routes, I keep hitting the wrong thing. These deep stop routes here, he does a good job of coming back to the zone side and finding him for the completion. All right, here we go. A 3rd and 2, right on fringe red zone area. I have to apologize as I started the recording here. It kind of caught it right as the play was snapping. But here's some elements I just want you to notice. Press man, locked up man coverage. You can see they're bringing some pressure here. Now they choose to run the ball here and they catch a little outside edge. They're able to get the edge here and it goes. If you can get the edge or catch a crease on these man pressures, man, you can really go for some yards here. But I just wanted to notice it in terms of pass game, right? If we were choosing to throw the football 3rd and 2, if you have opportunities in man coverage, sometimes they do come on those 3rd and 2s. And Texas Tech is not afraid to get up in your grill and just tell you, guess what? It's man. We're going to play you straight up in your face, and we're going to see if you can beat us. And we're going to put the rest of the guys here in the box because that can give us an advantage. Or, you're not going to get an extra hat for us in the box. It's going to be not a light box. We're going to make sure we're covering our box. We're going to play man. So don't be surprised if you don't see some of these like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3s. Texas Tech jumps in man coverage. BYU sets up some type of like rub play, some type of mesh with somebody slipping out into the flat, or a motion down, some type of twist play. When you get these man opportunities, if you got a guy that you believe can just win straight up man coverage, great. But you may have to use some type of variations of motions or stack alignments and cross-releasing to be able to create somebody open, but you can create space there and pick up first downs in the pass game if you don't believe you're going to get it in the run game. All right, I wanted to get some red zone on here. I'm going to finish this one. As I watched the first half with Kansas State, Texas Tech was doing a few things that I was like, I wanted to see, is this what we're going to get against another team? And so I actually went and jumped ahead and I wanted to go see the week prior's game against Baylor. So there's going to be some breakdowns on Baylor after this one. But it's a quarters look in the red zone here. Right? And the reason that you can notice it right off the bat, the reason I wanted to put it on is because just at first glance, you start to see there's free access. You can notice the safety depth here. Yes, this player is up a little bit tighter because that's a nub side. So if you were looking at the formation right here, some people may say, oh, it's a chips formation. But a lot of the times, most teams will call this a 1x3 formation. And that is because up here is your tight end. So this is where you get the 1 from. And then over here is the 3 side. So a 1x3 formation because technically this will be considered the strength. Now, we hear me talk about speed side. Obviously, this is the speed side, but they play this quarter shell and they walk him down a little bit tighter because of the nub side. But as you can see here, this is just a straight up quarters. You're going to get a widened player. He may try to reroute or get his hands on. He doesn't do it all the time, but sometimes he does. And then over here, you're going to have the middle player. They push a little bit this way to the field because of speed side. And that's why they bring this player down. Any release here is not going to be as fast because of this corner that stepped down. And he also does it because he knows I got a safety over the top of me on the hash. So I can be a little bit aggressive down here. And I may not give that tight end as clean of a release. Sometimes you'll see here when teams get these corners coming down in the nub, you'll see this corner flat concept. And what they're trying to do is take advantage of this safety. If this safety at all pushes towards this 3 receiver side, which some teams, they'll do that in 3x1 or trips formations, they'll play quarters and they'll poach a guy. And what poach means is he starts to kind of move towards the speed side. Well, if you're going to bring a corner down to a nub side and you're going to poach a safety, now you can get leverage on this corner flat concept. And I'm not saying that that's what they're running here. I'm just saying that is an opportunity. But I just wanted to show everybody it's kind of the differences of they can play man coverage down here. You saw when that quarterback was running in goal line, the man scheme they were running down there. They don't only play man coverage in red zone. They will get into these quarters looks as well. All right, I wanted to jump to the Baylor game because I was really curious in how Texas Tech was going to play Baylor. They start out the game playing cover 3, just a simple zone coverage on the first play. And on the second play of the game, they stem to a 4 down, which right here you can see he's still in a stand-up alignment. And you can see that they have the original 3 down lineman, but what they do is they stem to a 4 down look. So when I say 4 down, I'm talking about what's called an even front. And what that means is you'll have a shade on the center, so you can be in like a 1 technique, or you won't even be on the center. You'll be in a 2-eye, you'll be in a 3 technique, you'll be in these techniques on the guard. And so an even front means you're going to be in a 4 down, and then you can be those guys on more of the guards rather than having somebody head up on the nose and guards uncovered. When the guards are uncovered, that's your standard 3 down look. When you get into a 4 down look, now you start to maybe shade on the center, or you're on one of the guards, or you're shade on the center, you're on the other guard. So here they jump into a 4 down look, and then they're just playing a simple cover 4 coverage. You have the 4 guys in a shell, and you have the 3 underneath guys as linebackers, and maybe a nickel guy out here. So 4 deep, 3 under, a simple cover 4 zone, and this 2x2 set by Baylor, and you'll see their space. This is really easy on the top side here. This concept, I actually really like this concept. It's a hammer switch concept. You're just going to have a widened in cut, and then you're going to have a sit right here. And because the mic pushes here to the field because of the back, this becomes the 3 receiver side to the field. He pushes to it, and that leaves this easy window right here, because what you're doing is you're going to high-low this defender right here. So as you see it play out, you can see the mic push. You're going to see he's going to grab there. That's going to pull him. And then it's just an easy little wrap right in here. Love this concept. There's going to be ways that if BYU gets this quarters look, you can run snag concepts. You can run wrap concepts. You can run free access. You can see those out routes or stop routes on the outside. If this guy widens, then you're going to have space on the inside. All right, here's another look of their quarters coverage, but here you're getting it versus an empty formation from Baylor. Again, Texas Tech played way more 4 down fronts against Baylor than they did against Kansas State. So I'm really curious of what we're going to see. Are we going to see a majority of 3 down fronts? Are we going to see more 4 down fronts? Here, again, a lot of snaps against Baylor in the beginning of the game. That's these zone coverages. Here you can see there's the secondary. That's the 4 across. One thing you always get is you get these staggered looks from the safeties. And I don't know if they do it because they do have in their packages these pressures where now he'll drop down and it'll be 3 deep, 3 under. But sometimes this guy will start in the middle of the field as it's staggered. And then on the snap, he will work his way to this hash and he will work his way to that hash. But it's just a simple, it's quarters. You're going to get free access on the outside. And as you can see, if these inside hook backers and nickel player, if they stay inside trying to reroute these inside receivers, that means you get free access here on the outside. His eyes are going to be inside. He's going to bail with depth, and you're going to have this space out here on the outside where you can win. Same up here to the boundary. If this defender here carries inside, puts hands on this slot receiver, and you're in quarters, you see that depth, you're going to get free access out here as well. So that's something that they can look at. There's a play that BYU loves where they're going to line up number 3 here, and he can have a choice route. If this defender works to him and he works there, again, you see here's that space in the middle of the field that we can win on those inside breaking choice routes. All right, so as I've said, they've played Baylor a little bit differently than how they were playing Kansas State at times, but they still hold true to some of the things they do. Here you're going to see cover 1. It's a man look. Here you can see the man coverage. They're manned up, and then they got a free safety sitting here in the middle of the field. The reason why I put this up, it's a run play. It's not a pass play, but I want just to watch how these backers flow. There are some elements that are similar to what they're trying to accomplish in the run game. You'll see these backers come downhill. I still don't believe they come downhill as fast as TCU. There are times that they do slow play for confirmation a little bit differently than TCU. But at the end of the day, once they see run, and they've been not only confirmed by their run keys, but they can see the ball handed off, they are still trying to fill those gaps and beat the cutoff blocks in the zone running schemes and make contact at the line of scrimmage. And ideally, yes, that's what everybody's trying to do. But I think there is a difference, and I think we're going to see it a little bit. TCU had team speed in the box that sold out just a titch differently in the run plays. Now, to me, I think that hands-on, see this contact that's happening here? That even shows up a little bit in the pass game. As this player will run, let's say he's running something vertical, you'll see these guys at times get hands-on and be kind of physical and reroute, and then other times they won't. And I don't know if it is situationally specific, if it's scheme specific, if it's basically, trying to gauge off of certain concepts. I don't know what it is, but to me, there are a ton of similarities between what we saw last week and what we're going to get this week, but there's also subtle differences. Like TCU, I would put them under the 3-3-5 defense, right? And they have this extra player. There's a lot of different names for him, but it's an extra nickel player. Here, Texas Tech is basically what I believe is a 3-4 scheme that can then stem their front into a 4-down front and play 4-3 structure. But they are a 3-4 team by the way they do things, and a lot of their rules hold true to that. Okay, here Texas Tech is going to bring field pressure to a boundary bunch formation. So down here to the boundary, you can see you have your point man, you have your two receivers, and this could be a back or another tight end or wing. I can't tell by the personnel. I don't have like their roster, but the thing that I'm bringing this up for is this is how you as a quarterback can identify and get a tip off of what could be happening. So here they have a bunch look. I'm going to identify the 4-down lineman, okay? So here's your 4-down lineman. Now, the secondary, here's your secondary. But if you notice what we'll say is the backers, we'll go Sam, Mike, Nickel, Will. In a bunch look, if you are not bringing a safety down into the bunch look and getting to cover 3, then you need to have your backers bossed over towards the strength. Meaning, if I'm going to play a quarters cover 4 shell, I have to move those backers over. Something is up here. I'm getting what looks like a quarters look, but I'm not getting any type of angle or tilt where you show me quarters, but then bring this safety down and insert him to the side of the bunch. When you look at numbers, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 here, 1 here. Why on earth is the distribution? Look at the distribution of Texas Tech's defense. Why is this player out in an apex between the tackle and the single receiver? And why is a safety walked up slightly over the top of him? These pieces don't fit the formation that I have. So what does that mean? There comes field pressure. You can see this field pressure. It is set up so that they are going to rotate weak away from the bunch, and they're going to bring pressure here from the field. So those little tips that I gave you in the beginning of not having these backers over when showing a quarter shell, or not having a tilt of the safeties, and you're going to rotate this safety down and play 3 strong, because those pieces aren't happening like that, something is happening to the field here. And sure enough, you get this nickel pressure coming from the field. Okay, following that same thread about basically puzzle pieces being lined up and recognizing there's a space that somebody needs to get in, I'm going to tag the secondary players again. Here you can see their secondary players. You can see that tilt that I talk about. Now underneath, you're going to see Sam, Mike, Nickel, Will. You're going to see this space right here. There's this space sitting here, and for a 3 receiver side, there needs to be some type of rotation. Meaning, could they run and play cloud to the field and have him push there? Absolutely. But he's not getting a ton of width already. He would need to be working outside the hash. So what you're going to get here is you're going to see that space is going to need to be filled. You're going to start to see, here comes the tilt of the safeties. You're going to get cover 3. This nickel player is going to buzz to the flat. The middle player is going to go there, and you're going to get cover 3 buzz. I explained this earlier in the video about how when a safety inserts into this hole right here, this nickel player will buzz to the flat. And so that's what you're going to get right here. It's a 1-by-3 formation. There's the 1, and then you have the 3 receivers to the field. 1-by-3, you're going to get this safety rotation. There goes that safety coming down. Safety rotation down in that whole spot, and it is 3 buzz. We're buzzing to the field. You can see he tries to get hands on. He tries to collision a little bit, and then he's going to buzz to the flat. He's influenced by this through seam. And then so you can see right here, because of the influence there and because of this player getting hands on, Blake Shapen's going to take this shallow right route here on 3rd and 7. Now they get the shallow. He throws it. They're going to try to rally for the first down. Texas Tech does a good job of rallying to the football. Guys, again, I see good team speed, but I do think overall, if I have to rate it, it's not quite the same as what we saw last week in TCU. And hopefully because of that, we can take advantage of some things. All right, here we go. Back to another man coverage. It's 2nd and 10. We're going to notice this. It's locked up man coverage, locked up man. Now, I talked earlier in this breakdown about a robber player. That's when a safety comes down and they play that zone player reading quarterback's eyes, and he can go wherever the quarterback's eyes take him. The thing you can't see in this picture is that there is actually a deep safety basically 20 yards down the field, beyond 20 yards down the field, very, very deep. That's one of the things that I notice at times in their man coverage looks. They play extremely deep, Ed Reed style, free safety getting really deep in man coverage. So if you're looking at the screen and you're like, wait a second, why does it look like there's only 10 guys on the field? If you see these players locked up like this, it is man coverage and there's a really deep free safety. And they do that for range. As that ball is in the air, the deeper the safety, the little bit more range she has on deeper downfield throws. So they're trusting that they're going to be able to cover underneath stuff. And if they try to take a shot down the field, that deep safety is really going to be able to, as you can see, here he is right here. He's that guy that's, because of the depth, he's going to be able to make moves on really downfield throws. You don't want a shallow free safety in cover one, because then his angles are towards the depth of the field. When you start him really deep, he has better angles to deeper throws. Okay, this is the last clip that I'm going to break down. This is a unique coverage, okay? This is an inverted coverage at areas of the field. And so what I mean by that is you're going to look across and you're going to say, man, this just looks like it's cover 4. Isn't that a standard cover 4? But I want you to notice the shallowness of the safeties. Watch how shallow these safeties are going to be. Do you see as the receivers push vertical, these guys basically stay flat-footed on the first down marker? The inversion comes here. This corner is going to drop with depth, and he has a player running out to the flat. And to this side of the field, you're getting the same thing. A nickel player running out to the flat, and then the corner is going to get depth and sink inside. This is like an inverted cover 2 look, but I don't believe they're playing a true inverted 2, because this corner up here just gets depth. So this is more an inverted cloud, like 3 cloud look. He's looking deep thirds because he's to the single receiver side of the field. He's not working to the half. And the way that they protect themselves here is that if the offense was going to run any through seam towards that half safety, if there was one, you're going to see this defender is going to come down similar to how he comes down like a buzz player or a hole player. But what he's doing is he's almost poaching any through seam. So in the NFL, there's a concept, a defensive concept called 3 buzz week, where they play cover 3 to one side of the field. The safety buzzes down inside of the linebacker to the weak side of the field, and then they actually man up the running back and the single receiver. They do that a lot, and that safety protects against any through seam. Well, here, similarly, if anybody were to go there, that safety's going to work down. So you have a deep third inverted player. He's buzzing to the flat. And then over here, this is the nickel player buzzing out, and then this is going to be the corner that is going to run over the top. Now, I'm calling it invert because of the way it's structured. Usually the concept or the term invert is when you have a safety that works down, he runs to the flat, and the corner works over the top. That would be like a true 2 invert. So it's not holding true to that rule, but in the way that this guy is running out and he's playing over the top in half, and then now a safety is working down to become the hook player, that is definitely an inverted coverage. And so you get this kind of really unique inverted look here, and it ends up playing out where the corners are the deepest guys on the field. And so I would imagine that if there's any in-breaker or deep post, it's those corners that have to overlap over the top and play it because the safeties are so shallow. So very unique coverage. You know, is it too deep with 5 under? Well, that's like cover 2, and that's why it would be an inversion. Is it a 3 deep, and then this player is just reacting and coming downhill? Maybe, but I don't think he would do that in a true cover 3. So to me, it holds a little bit more truth to the 2 deep, 5 under, but they are just playing at a very unique style. Now here, Baylor dashes out, they throw a ball, it's incomplete. And the guy that's breaking on it here, I wish I could see the copy in the back. These 3 are basically playing over these two. As this guy widens, he actually looks behind himself to see what these players are doing because he loses vision on him a little bit. So it's kind of this triangulation of 3 over 2 in an inverted look. So again, back to Texas Tech, my final thoughts. As a good football team, they do some good things defensively. They shake up what they do based off of who they're playing, at least in what I've seen, the 2 games that I've watched. I think they are a zone coverage team that trusts the man coverage in certain situations. They get up and they play in your face in man. That tells me they got trust in their cover guys. But a lot of the times it's zone pressure. To me, it's going to start out with the front. Are they going to play us and trust to being in a 3 down? Are they going to stem to 4 down looks? Are they going to play us drop 8 at times? I'm really curious to see with the struggles that BYU is going through in the run game, how that affects how Texas Tech approaches us. I do think most teams are going to say, we're going to make sure we put the people and match you in the box, and we're not going to let you get your run game going. We're going to be okay with you having to try to beat us in the pass game, and then we're going to play coverage on any long down and distances, and when we feel comfortable getting up in man, that's what we're going to do. I hope it can be a good day for the Cougars. I want to see them get back on track and wishing them all the best.